Hey, this is Larry Osborne here again with today's Daily Dose, and I want to talk about one of the Jesus stories where he heals some folks who have leprosy. You know, there's a lot of miracle stories, and all of them at their core have one major message, and that is that Jesus Christ is the Lord and King over this entire universe. But there's a lot of other lessons that can be learned each and every time we look at one of these stories. And this is a story that's found in Luke chapter 17, and it begins at verse 11. Now, on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. And as he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and they called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." And when he saw them, he said, "Go, show yourself to the priest." And as they went, they were cleansed. Well, one of them, when he saw that he was healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and he thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Little sidebar in this story, the Samaritans were the spiritual half-breeds that all of the Jewish people looked down on, and especially the religious leaders that Jesus was always having a hack and a hassle with. And yet, out of the 10, it was this guy who came back with gratitude. And then Jesus says, "Were not 10 cleansed? Well, where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except for this foreigner?" And then he said to him, "Rise and go, your faith has made you well." In this is an obvious lesson about whatever happened to gratitude. You've got 9 other guys who are they're sentenced to a lifetime of separation from any social interaction. Leprosy was considered the worst of all the things that could happen to you. And in that culture, when bad things happen to you, there was always an underlying assumption, it must be because God is mad at you. And they've heard the Jesus stories and the things that he has done. So from the distance, because you can't go near anybody else who doesn't have leprosy, they cry out for pity. And they not only get pity, they get healing. And what do? As they go to present themselves to the priest to show the power of God to these religious leaders, they find themselves healed and they go on with their life. And I don't know about you, but I find it is so easy for me to do that when it comes to the things I cry out to God and say, "God, would you fix this? Would you help with this? Would you give me the strength to endure it? Would you have pity on me here? Or Lord, even would you fix this?" And he does. And then I find myself going on my way going, "Well, Lord, I don't need you anymore." It's kind of like the old story of the gal circling the Walmart at Christmas time looking for a parking space, a couple of kids in car seats, and it's raining, and she's saying, "Lord, come on, I just need a space. I just need a space." And so as she circles around right in front of the front door, somebody pulls out, goes on their way. She pulls right in and she says, "Oh, that's okay, Lord. I don't need it. I found one." And you know what? I can be a lot that way. My bet is you can be a lot that way. I want to encourage you to remember the importance of always coming back and being the one who says, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord." It's what feeds our faith. It's what reminds us of the great God we have. And ultimately, according to the book of Thessalonians, it's the will of God. Not because he needs an attaboy, but because we need perspective. Gratitude. Always, always run back, because you know what? He's the one who gave us a parking spot.